and there's no literature, no discussions, I would not be able to vote.
At this very moment, I would say statehood, only because I think we need to develop industries that are self-sustainable on Guam. Right now, we heavily depend on military spending and on tourism, two things we don't control. And so I believe we need industries that we control, as the mayor mentioned, such as agriculture. I think we need to develop that before we look at independence. And same with aquaculture, two things that I'm very passionate about and are my vision for Guam for promoting. But right now, we don't have that set right now. So at this very moment, from what I know, though I would definitely like to learn more and think about how it impacts in the future, I would say statehood.
Thanks for the question. Just given what we know now, if tomorrow was the vote, I'd probably vote for independence. I think there's some misinformation that if we choose independence or if we choose free association, that means a complete break from the United States, no relationship with the United States. And I think that is false. I think that we would still be able to negotiate a relationship with the United States, negotiate on our terms what we would do with the United States bases, negotiate whether we would keep our US passports and all of those things, but we do it from a position of strength if we choose independence. And so if the vote were held tomorrow, from what I know, I would choose independence.
When I first came back to Guam, my father, by the way, for those of you who don't know, was the first congressman elected to Washington, D.C., and we naturally had to move with the family. The family had to move and live there. And I grew up, of course, thinking that statehood would have been the way to go. Came back to Guam, started to teach, and then there was a constitutional convention that was held here to decide whether we should write our own constitution, and that failed. So then when I ran for the legislature and this subject came up, then I needed to explore other options, and I was thinking of free association because I've seen our neighbors who were freely associated with the United States and with other countries. And as I study more about it, and the more I'm in the legislature, and the more mandates we get from the U.S., has turned me away from statehood. Because one, I don't want to pay federal taxes. Two, we have, of course, a mandate from the federal government on EITC. They do not provide any funding for that. We have to give that out of our own pockets, but they mandate it to us, and we're not even a state. There's also restriction on cabotage. There's restriction on the Jones Act. So I mean, there's just so many restrictions. We don't control our immigration. We follow the United States, so we go with whatever their quota is. So we have no control. They can decide whatever they want to do on the island because we are a territory. So basically, I'm making a case to myself as I was studying this, so I definitely will not vote for statehood. And besides that, we're too small to become a state. Some have suggested that yes, maybe we should unite with all of the Mariana Islands, and maybe we can, similar to Hawaii. But we're still too small compared to Hawaii. So some have suggested that maybe we should join Hawaii, and then that way we can become a state. Now, I'm a member of the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures, and I've been to all the islands in Micronesia, and I've seen how small they are, far smaller than we are. Akashai, with 8,000 people, and they are a freely associated state. We are at 170,000, and we are a colony. So this whole idea that, we're going to fumble, is wrong. How do you think all these other countries in Europe, when they finally broke away from their ministering powers, is that they became entrepreneurial? They had to, because that was a means for survival. But you know what, I'll tell you, Guam is in such a unique position. We are so unique because we're strategically located that everybody wants us. The United States wants us. The United States needs us, really more than we need them. But I'm not saying we're going to discard all those relationships. And I'm not saying that whatever political status, and I'm not a member of any of the forces, but I hear the members to talk about it. And my understanding is that if we vote tomorrow, and yes, tomorrow I'll vote independence, I'll vote for it today. But I'll tell you, we're not going to be an independent nation tomorrow, because it's going to take time for the people to come together to then decide exactly how we want Guam to look like as a sovereign nation. Think about it, as a sovereign nation where we get to control our resources here on the island. The mayor mentioned it. We're buying water from our own water, from Fenner Lake, 2 times more than what we, the government of Guam, sell to all of you. Is that right? It's a natural resource, but we don't even control it. We don't even control our waters around us. We have to stay within the 200 EE zone. Look at Palau, a small nation, and they control their entire waters, and they're setting the record, world record, of having sanctuaries, the first and only sanctuary in the world. But it's scary. I understand that it's scary. We don't want to change. Many of us don't like the word change. But it's not going to happen overnight. Some countries have taken 10 years to actually formulate exactly what they want to look like. And like Regine said, yes, we will be in a position to negotiate for the very first time that yes, we would like to have a passport. Yes, we would like to still be a Chamorro citizen at the same time. Other countries have dual citizenship. What's going to make it so bad or unique for us that we can't? So rather than closing our minds to some of these things, I encourage you is to really attend these meetings, do some reading, do some research. That's what this is all about, because then you would alleviate the fears that we have of the unknown of what's going to look like. But how many of you tell me, how many of you enjoy making all your own decisions as an adult, not having somebody control everything that you do? That in essence is what it is. We're the stepchild of our administrative power. But I want to be independent. I want to be able to decide how to control our resources here, where our water and our soil and our air will not be contaminated, because we can't control that right now, because whatever the federal laws are, it's applicable to us. Anyway, I said too much, but I won't bring that in.
Thank you. So I think that, and I think one of the reasons why the question keeps coming up amongst the panels and all the forums that we go to is I think maybe it's a cry for the people to find out a little bit more about it, and us be that opportunity to give them some more information, you know, and let me tell you that every time I go through another forum, I learn just a little bit more about how I feel where we should be. And again, it's not just about us, it's about our kids and their kids and their kids. You know, they're going to have to live with this decision that we made, which is why it's such an important decision, and it's very important for us to learn a little bit more about it. Like Speaker Wonpat said, it's an unfair advantage because the Independence Task Force is out there full force. And so my position, my straight answer would be unfairly independence, because I know a lot more about it than any of the other political statuses. But again, if it were to happen tomorrow, I would choose independence because I know a lot more about it and I know more of the benefits for the people.